Welcome back, my Duelist friends. Casual Duelist here, and I'd like to apologize for not having this up yesterday. Usually I don't do a deck on Mondays, but we hit the 500 subs over the weekend, and I really wanted to press out that 6 Samurai deck and show you guys the other deck that was in my blue deck box. And no, because it had been pre-taped, I believe I did that like Friday or Saturday. I was pretty confident that you guys were going to do that for the weekend. I didn't put the giveaway winners on yesterday's video, so real quick, let's congratulate some people for some awesome comments. So I'm going to probably destroy this first name. Gavin, Mod Junior 123, and The Rich Potato 28. Thank you guys for all the comments and watching the videos, obviously. If you guys would like some free cards, and again, I'll have notified you in the comment sections of other videos, all you have to do is send me your mailing address that you'd like me to send some cards to my email at casualduelist78@gmail.com. And again, I do try to send this stuff out like the week after announcements. It's not that I mind going to the post more than once a week, but if I do have the opportunity to send an entire week's worth of winners at the same time, I do want to do that. So anybody who won last week, I'm getting that stuff into the mail tomorrow, day after. And one more quick apology to Kami. It kind of got sent back to me again. I let my wife do the mailing envelope, and I misdid it. Sent it right back to myself like an idiot. So I'm resending that, obviously. But I'm gonna throw something else in there because today's deck was requested by you, and that deck is Lair of Darkness. So I went ahead, I signed this one, and I'm gonna slip this in there with what you already won. It's sort of as a, I'm sorry for being so silly when it comes to writing on envelopes. So you are getting this copy of Lair of Darkness that I signed. So fantastic. And one last thing before we really go over the deck. Not only will I have a combos video to help explain that stuff that I'm going to upload pretty much at the same time. I might have like a 5-minute delay on that. I'm not exactly sure. But a little history on this is this card was super hyped up when it was announced originally. And it was as touted as just being this big unfair card that lets you have too much advantage. And because of the time period in which it was released, back row destruction cards were still relatively in every deck. So it didn't have as good a chance then as it does now. And I'm glad that you request this because, number one, I have all the cards. Two, I've actually been working on this on the side. I wanted to debut this in about another month, but I was happy to speed this one along a little bit for you. And we're going to show you guys how to abuse a card that everybody thought was going to be broken, and then it turned out it wasn't very broken. And right now, due to the lack of Twin Twisters, MSTs, Cosmic Cyclones, and all that other back row damaging effects kind of being relegated more or less to the side deck, we're going to show you guys how to get around it. So just real quick, let's all say hi to JoJo again. Put up my dual center, and let's get you guys a deck list. So starting off, and yes, I do know that this one is sleeved in a different color. Sorry guys, I don't have 40 of this sleeve, and this deck is 41 cards. Okay, done with that. We are going to be using 3 copies Arima, the Wicked Warden. We are going to be using 3 copies of Ash Blossom. You guys see Dark Magician. I know that you know Dragoon's in here, and everybody's going to complain. Well, Dragoon kind of prices it out. Well, it does price it out for some people because, again, we do use the Predaplant Vert Anaconda and the Dragoon, and that's almost $80 right there. But for the people who can play it, it should be included for the deck. If you don't have it, guess what? That's 3 cards in the main deck, 2 cards in the extra deck that are now your free choices. And you could just add other draw cards. You could add cards like Rageki, sorry. Somebody did let me know that I've been mispronouncing that for years. Rageki, sorry. You could put in Harpy's Feather Duster. You could put extenders like Monster Reborn into the deck. It's really an option for you guys to take this and make it your own. But yes, we are going to be running the single Dark Magician. We will have 2 copies of Darkest Diablos, Lord of the Lair. We will have 3 copies Duke Shade Sinister Shadow Lord. We will be running 3 copies Infernal Dragon. We will also have 3 copies Lilith, Lady of Lament, the obligatory 1 Red Eyes Black Dragon, and 3 copies of Tour Guide from the Underworld. Going over to the spells, we are going to be utilizing 3 copies of Lure of Darkness today, the single Called by the Grave, 3 of our field spell Lair of Darkness, the 1 Red Eyes Fusion, 3 copies Super Polymerization, and this is great because everything turns to dark with our field spell, and this means that it is actually rather live in this build. We do have the single Terraforming. On traps, I'm running a double Deck Devastation Virus and a double Grinning Grave Virus for reasons, and 3 Solemn Strikes. For our extra deck, we are going to be running 15 different cards. Everything's going to be a 1 of here. So no, that's wrong. Most everything's going to be 1 of. So we are going to use the 1 copy Red Eyes Dark Dragoon. We are going to be using 3 copies of Starving Venom Fusion Dragon because super polymerization reasons. 1 copy Levier the Sea Dragon. And then straight up to our link plays, we're going to be using the 1 Apollosa, Barricade Board Blocker, Blackluster Soldier, Soldier of Chaos, Boral Sword Dragon, IP Masquerena, Nightmare Cerberus, Phoenix, and Unicorn. The 1 Predaplant Verde Anaconda, and rounding out my build is the Underworld Goddess of the Closed World. And again, there's some room for you guys to change things. You could take out the Dragoon, the Predaplant, the Blackluster Soldier's still rather expensive, and the Underworld Goddess might be a little bit out of the range. So what we could use is things like Wee Witch. We could use Boral Sword, Boral Ode. Again, you kind of want the Barricade Board Blocker to protect your field spell. You could just put in big, good cards. I mean, there's really no way to go wrong. Just play whatever tech suits you personally. Now, if you're not into hearing the card descriptions for every card in the deck, like I said, there is going to be a combos video where I will actually explain, and I'll do a couple test draws real quick. So if that's what you were here for, was the deck list, and that's all, you know, have a great day. I'm glad that I could do this for you. If you're interested in the combos, but you already are familiar with the cards, go check that video out. Or go have an excellent day and go do something else. I mean, this is not the only thing that you guys do in the day. So, you guys have a good one. Everybody else, let's talk over some cards, and let's start back in the main deck and give you the effects. So, Arima, the Wicked Warden, is very akin to cards like Gravekeeper's Commandant and Harpy's Queen. This is one of those cards that you're allowed to discard, and then you add a field spell, in this case, Lair of Darkness, from the deck to the hand. And what it's going to allow us to do is, as a monster, its effect will be you contribute a dark monster to draw a card. Now, if the attributed dark monster was a card other than this card, then instead you can add a dark monster with 2,000 or more defense from the deck to the hand instead, using this effect only once per turn. And since it's again in quotes, that is a very hard once per turn. So, Arima, either drawing or tutoring, and also fetching our field spell. Good boy is best boy. Like for Demon Dog. We do want to use the Ash Blossom again. A lot of decks still tutoring from the deck. Again, even in our case, we use Arima. If our opponent is playing Mirror Match, they can obviously shut us down with that. And again, that's the reason that we need to run it. Again, because it just wouldn't be fair Yu-Gi-Oh! If I couldn't do what you could do. And additionally, we can discard it to negate a summon from the deck or sending a card from the deck to the discard, such as like Foolish Burial. So very good. Dark Magician here for the setup for Dragoon. Darkest Diablos. Now, this guy is pretty cool, and at first I think he was just relegated to actually getting kicked out of his own deck because Lair of Darkness didn't really work so well. And so our boy here was, I think he got paired off quite a bit with Sky Strikers for the tribute effect summoning. And we're going to use him at 2. And again, 2 because Arima can tutor him, and I don't see a reason to really block us up with 3. So, effects. Your opponent cannot tribute this face-up card on the field and cannot target it with card effects. This is very important because this makes him kaiju-proof. And again, targeting him with effects could, in fact, hurt him. Now, you could use each of the following effects once per turn. So, first effect. If a dark monster I control is tributed except during the damage step, I can special summon it from the graveyard. or the hand. So, fantastic. Second effect, you contribute a dark monster. Your opponent places one card from their hand from the hand, either onto the top or the bottom of their deck. And again, most people would choose bottom unless you just bounced something. And again, it's just not that type of format. So I don't know if you prefer stalling their hand. Maybe you want to choose the top of the deck. So again, 2, he's fairly easy to get out. He's fairly easy to tutor up. And I don't want to clog the field. And I wasn't playing any big boy overlays for it. So we do have the 3 Duke Shades. And again, this guy's actually going to be our Kaiju for a great reason. You contribute any number of dark monsters, special summon this card from your hand, and if you do, it gains 500 per monster attributed. Now, we can use our opponent's monster as one of our tributes, and we'll get to that when we get over to the field spell. So if you're only going to tribute the one monster, great, he's at 1,000, and he's going to be good for our Grinning Grave Virus, which is why we're running that. Additionally, he and Diablos have the 2,000 or more defense on Dark, which means these are going to be our 2 major targets for Arima's effect if we're going to tutor. That said, you could also do the Dark Magician of the Red Eyes. Unfortunately, you pretty much want to go to Predaplant Verde Anaconda as soon as possible and set up your Red Eyes Fusion for Dragoon just for stability play. So this will allow us to get one monster off the field, but unlike a Kaiju, we don't have to give the monster to our opponent. Secondly, the rest are the effect. If this is normal or special summon, you can target a level 5 or higher dark monster in the graveyard and add it to your hand. So, again, we could bring back the Red Eyes, the Dark Magician for some reason, or Diablos, which is fine, because Diablos could obviously summon himself out anyway. Just depends on what you need for your hand. Maybe you're going to go into a Super Poly play and you need that card. So that's also very good. You can use each effect once per turn, and you cannot special summon monsters the turn you activate this except dark monsters. Guess what? We're playing a majority of dark monsters. We're all good. We are running the Infernal Dragons, and again, this came with a structure deck. And I honestly didn't think he was as good at first. I was like, oh, just generic 2,000 dragon monster. And then I remembered, oh yeah, Lair of Darkness is the point of this deck, so he's actually excellent. The effect here, once per turn during the end phase of this card, attacked this turn, destroy it. When this card on the field is destroyed and sent to the graveyard, tribute a monster, special summon this card back from the graveyard. Oh, again, Lair of Darkness allows us to tribute our opponent's monsters for an effect, and that means that I can attack one monster, watch it blow up, resurrect it, and take your monster with it. So that's cool. It's a great trade-off. And later on, when we talk about Lair and Allure of Darkness and the synergy with the tour guide, this just gets better. Lilith, not as super usable because we're only running 4 traps that are normal traps in the deck, the 2 copies each virus. So when this is normal summon, the original attack becomes 1,000 rather than it's 2,000. As a quick effect, you contribute a dark monster, reveal 3 normal traps from the deck, the opponent randomly selecting one and setting it to your side of the field, shuffling the rest back into your deck. Use this effect only once per turn. That's good. Tour Guide is also good because Tour Guide special summoning it means that we will get the full 2K and we can use Deck Devastation Virus with her. So it's all good, and being that they're both 2s, we can either go into the Link to Predaplant Verde Anaconda immediately, or we can go ahead and generate Leviair Sky. I believe he was called Sky Dragon. Sea Dragon. And that will allow us to then start cycling back anything that we banished that was low stars for our Allures of Darkness, which could be our Infernal Dragon, which then we're going to continually juggle anyway. So good is good. And then you're going to have the obligatory Red Eyes, because again, we need that for the Dragoon. And the Tour Guide kind of just gave that up. When this is normal summon, you can special summon a level 3 Fiend monster from the hand or deck, negate its effects, and it cannot be used as synchro material. I know sometimes I misspeak because I get a little carried away, but Lilith is definitely a Fiend and is definitely 3 stars. Now again, Tour Guide can call Tour Guide, but the fact is negating the effect means that we will have a 1K and a 2K, and we could be able to start activating some traps. And again, the utility is just to speed out being able to play our extra deck. The Allures of Darkness, again, draw 2 cards, banish a dark from the hand, or if you can't, send the entire thing to the discard pile, not a problem in this deck. Call by the Grave. Target a monster on the opponent's graveyard, banish it, and if you do until the end of the turn, end of the next turn, actually, sorry, its effects are negated as well as the activated effects and effects on the field of monsters with the same original name. So again, we can stop hand traps a lot. Lair of Darkness, let's check this out. All face-up monsters on the field become dark, so Super Polymerization goes live, I don't know, immediately. Once per turn, if I would tribute a monster I control to activate a card effect, I contribute a dark monster the opponent controls, even though I do not control it. So the monster doesn't initially have to be dark, it just has to be dark while on their side, and this is what allows you to juggle the Infernal Dragon. Once per turn during the end phase, special summon as many Torment tokens, 1k, 1k, 3-star Dark Fiends, as possible to the turn player's field in defense, up to the number of monsters tributed this turn while this card was face up. So let me break that down just real quick. If I use Duke Shade on my turn, take one of your monsters, I was the turn player, I get the token, even though the monster came from your side of the field. If I use one of my virus traps on one of your monsters on your turn, that's fine. You'll get it. If I use the trap to tribute one of my monsters on your turn, you still get the token. So there are some ways to do this, and it's not terrible. Again, Red Eyes Fusion, we're going to go ahead and send our materials from hand and or deck, and that is going to be the last summon we get for the turn. So that's fine. Super Polymerization. Discard a card, fusion summon monster using cards on the field as material. Nothing can activate in response to this. So we're going to be ensuring our Starving Venom Dragon is going to make it to board. Terraforming, just extra consistency with Arima. That's 4 searches for our Lair of Darkness, not counting just drawing into it, which realistically is 7 copies of our field spell. The traps. Let's talk about the traps. Deck Devastation Virus is essentially a hand trap murdering card. Tribute 1 dark monster with 2k plus attack, and again, this could be your Lilith that we can just tutor from the deck because Tour Guide said so. Or this could be Diablos, and again, if Diablos is in the hand, when you tribute a monster, you can actually just pop Diablos. You're not going to be able to special summon Diablos off of his own effect if he's the card being tributed. But it does have some interplay that you can get. And most hand traps have 1500 or less attack. So we're going to destroy all the cards that they have in their hand field and draw for the next 3 turns with this card effect. And essentially, we're taking hand traps out of the game. Any decks that are using low power monsters to start and generate loops, we're going to break that before they hit the field. It's going to be great. And again, Lilith on a normal summon can still board that through effect. And then you have the Double Grin Engrave, tribute a dark monster with 3k or less attack. Your opponent destroys 1 card of their choice in their hand or deck for every 500 attack it had on the field. If you tributed a monster with 2,000 or more attack to activate this effect, look at all cards your opponent that they draw until the end of their 3rd turn after this activation, destroying all monsters among them. Cards destroyed and sent to the graveyard by this card's effect cannot activate their own effects that turn. So, this is live for any monster that we play. This is live for any monster that they play while we have Lair of Darkness. It's still good because, again, we can juggle our Infernal Dragon. We can juggle Darkest Diablos. We should have Dragoon to back this up. There's a lot of interplay that's going to allow you to do this. Solemn Strike, very good card. When a monsters would be special summoned or a monster effect activated, pay 1500, slap that out of there, negate, destroy the cards, and destroy it. So that's all good. Getting over to the extra deck, we do have the Dragoon. Again, cannot be destroyed by card effects. Neither player can target it with card effects. During the main phase, I can destroy a monster the opponent controls up to a number of times of normal monsters used to fuse this. If I do destroy that monster, I inflict damage to the opponent equal to its original attack. And then additionally, as a quick effect, once per turn when a card or effect is activated, I can discard a card, negate the activation, and then if I do destroy the card, and then if the card was destroyed by this effect, this guy gains 1,000 points permanently. And again, this is another reason why Duke Shade being able to throw dark monsters back up into your hand of a higher level could be very useful for you. Once you've played him, you can play Duke Shade the next turn, generate back one of your characters while tributing off your opponent's character, getting a token additionally to help with your link builds. and have the additional fuel in hand to get an extra negate. So that's all good. Starving Venom, again, everything's dark. Super Polymerization is live always. This just needs any 2 dark monsters. It is going to exclude the tokens. So we cannot use the Infernal tokens from the Lair of Darkness. Just monsters, which again is absolutely 100% fine. When this is fusion summoned, we can make this card gain attack equal to one opponent's special summoned monster until the end of the turn. Once per turn, we can target a level 5 or higher monster our opponent controls. Until the end of this turn, this card becomes that card in name, gaining its effects. It doesn't look like it gains its stats. If this fusion summoned card is destroyed, you can destroy all of your opponent's special summoned monsters. So even on the way out, this card is still going to devastate them. And again, it's a free 2,800. And you're just going to be able to sop up and destroy a whole bunch of chains and interrupt with a card that can't be responded to with Super Polymerization. We do have the Leviair, the Sea Dragon. This is, again, a quick 1-2 off of Tour Guide. It's 2 level 3s. Once per turn, detach material from this to target a banished level 4 or lower monster to special summon from your banished pile, obviously, to your side of the field. And again, if we do the Infernal Dragon, just as like almost a carefree or a Duke Shade, just as a kind of carefree banish for Allure of Darkness, we will be able to get stuff. We'll be able to juggle the dragon. And again, the special summon doesn't say that it's going to negate effects. So special summoning Duke Shade is again going to net us another card back from the discard that's 5 stars or higher dark. And again, let's say you do destroy my... that would be way too costly. But if you destroy one of my fusion monsters, I would be able to put that back together again. But again, more negates for my Dragoon. Again, the link's pretty self-explanatory here. Apollosa's here to chain block. And again, we can't use the tokens for this one. But there are other characters that we can use the tokens for. We do have the Barricade Board Blocker, and this is one that we can do that with. So 2 monsters with different names. And again, we're going to do this to protect our field spell. So if this is Link Summon, discard a card during the end phase, you can add a continuous or field spell from the graveyard back to the hand. Use this effect only once per turn, and face-up spells I control cannot be destroyed by the opponent's card effects. So again, Barricade Board Blocker really here to put in the work and help protect the Lair of Darkness. Again, I do have the Blackluster Soldier, so I'm playing the Blackluster Soldier, and I do get more effects because I do have Big Boy Diablos in here. Again, I'm not going to go over this one as much. You can put a Borreload Dragon here if you don't have it. Again, Boral Sword, a lot of good effects. It's going to help you get over monsters. IP Masquerena, come down a little bit in price. You can use the tokens here as well because it says non-links. So that is fine. And then during the opponent's turn, you can, as a quick effect, resolve the effect, link summon a monster using this and other cards that you control as material. And again, when we get to the Underworld Goddess, we can go into a crazy Link 5. We do use the Nightmares. We do have the Nightmare Cerberus for the special summon monsters, the Phoenix for the back row, and the Unicorn to seal any one of those cards on our opponent's side of the field back to the deck. We do have the Predaplant Verde Anaconda, which does require it to be 2 effect monsters. But again, this is just a quick tour guide play, something that you can open up with quite often and just go straight into a boss character to help establish board position before Lair of Darkness really kicks in and starts wailing on your opponent. And last one, Underworld Goddess. I think you guys are tired of me reading this one off. Just know that it lets you use an opponent's monster as part of the cost, which is great. And with IP Masquerena, you just need 3 monsters on your side and 1 that they have. So again, we're just able to get rid of some of our opponent's cards. Now, I do hope that this satisfied. Okami, I think that this is a good build. Again, there is definitely room for you guys to experiment and play with. And this is, again, going into that little prize pack that you won that got sent back on accident because I don't know how to fill stuff out. You guys have an excellent day. And if you have the time, try to check out the combos video as well. And I'll do a test hand and kind of show you just how quick we can try to get to Dragoon and set up a board position. So I will see you guys on the next video. You guys have a great day.